Now, thank you so much for joining me today. With me today is Dr. Briana Hagen from the Canadian Centre for Agricultural Wellbeing. And for those of you who don't know, I'm Dr. Merle Massie. I am the Executive Director of the Do More Agriculture Foundation. And we're here talking with Dr. Hagen because we're really excited to hear about the news that came out this week from CCAW. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Briana. If you could first of all tell people, what is CCAW?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me in this very exciting week. I'm so glad to be here. So CCAW, for those that don't know, is the Canadian Centre for Agricultural Wellbeing, and we are a national not-for-profit that does research to evidence-based intervention planning for farmer mental health specifically. So we have been around for about the last 2 years, just over 2 years now, and we're really excited to be a part of the landscape.
And it's fabulous to have you here. The research work is such top notch. We all use it, we all need it, we all appreciate it, and we all support it. Why does Canada need a national farmer helpline? That was the big news this week with the announcement that came out from Farm Credit Canada and CCAW that we now have a national farmer helpline. Can you tell us about it and why do we need it?
Yeah, so thank you. Yeah, that's really big news for this week. We are so proud and excited that our national crisis line is now in place for farmers and their families and people who work in agriculture. So, pardon me. I think if we go back probably 10 years ago, starting when mental health kind of really came into the conversation in agriculture, what our research showed over the last 10 or so years was that farmers really feel like they need strong support that has a root in agriculture, folks who understand what it is like to farm in Canada. And that can be different for folks sometimes in BC versus from PEI. So, what we learned was we needed to create something that taught counselors, crisis counselors, intake workers, what it meant to be a farmer in Canada. So at CCW, we created the Canadian Ag Literacy Program to train these health professionals to be able to better serve farmers. And we knew one of the barriers of seeking help was that we needed something that was free, something that was confidential, something that was 24/7, and something that had ag literate counseling. So that is what this crisis line provides.
And that's fantastic news. So what can people expect when they call this crisis line?
Yeah, so you can call from anywhere at any time. No problem is too small, no problem is too big. When someone calls into the line, which is 1-866 farms 01, they will get a prompt that asks them whether they would prefer to have their services in French or English. And then they will be put in touch with an intake worker who will discuss whatever issue has come up and connect them with an appropriate crisis counselor that has been ag trained so that they can talk about anything that has come up. And like I said, no problem too big or small. We know there's been lots of news coming out in the last couple of weeks around tariffs. So that's something that's been asked about. And yes, you can call in if that's something that is ratcheting up your stress and you feel like you just really would like to talk to somebody outside of your immediate circle about this. That's something that you can call about. If you are concerned about a loved one that you know that works in farming, you can call about that. It doesn't have to be necessarily the person that is actively in crisis. Anyone in their circle that wants to get some help or guidance can call into that line.
And what happens if during that conversation they think that someone maybe could benefit from a little bit more support? What happens then?
Yeah, so what would happen then is we have, fortunately, there's lots of really good ag informed local services across our country. So where those are available, we'll be able to give people the resources to go connect with those for ongoing counseling. And that looks different based on what region you're in. So that would be something that you talk about with that crisis counselor.
Sounds amazing. Brianna, thank you so much for the leadership to bring this in. And once again, the phone number is 1-866 FARMS, FARMS 01. Or if you just prefer the numbers, 1-866 327 6701. Brianna, thank you so much.
Thank you.